You're watching Cape Media News, brought to you by Cape Media Center.
Tonight on Cape Media News, should you vote yes or no on ballot question 6?
Plus, Monomoy students tell us what it's like to host the state senate debate.
And a sneak peek of our last episode of Candid Candidates.
These stories and more are coming up next on Cape Media News.
Good evening and welcome to Cape Media News, your source for hyperlocal news that matters. I'm Lauren Williamson.
And I'm Maxie Davidson. There has been a lot of back and forth recently online and in the press about ballot question 6. The question was brought forward by the county's 15-member Assembly of Delegates and has received a great deal of pushback from the county commissioners. News Director Mitch Salk has more.
On November 5th, Barnstable County voters will face an important decision in ballot question 6. The question proposes a key amendment to the county charter aimed at clarifying the role of the Assembly of Delegates in the county budget process. Supporters say it's about transparency and balance, while opponents argue it could lead to confusion and potentially costly legal issues.
A yes vote would enable the delegate you elect to represent your town fully and fully perform their duties under the county charter. But you should know that this is a special act charter, and the Assembly is essentially a unicorn. We have not found any other charter like it with the setup that we have on Barnstable County. The other counties that have survived in Massachusetts do not have a legislative branch.
Ballot question 6 has its roots in a long-standing struggle between Barnstable County's legislative body, the Assembly of Delegates, and the county's executive branch, the Board of Commissioners. Tensions over budgetary authority have been brewing for years, and now, with this ballot question, the Assembly is pushing for clarity.
They proposed a bloated budget 2 years ago was 12% higher than the previous year, and the Assembly cut that by $800,000. Since then, the commissioners have used that language loophole to interfere with the Assembly's ability to perform its duties under the charter. Essentially, they didn't like the fact that we cut $800,000 plus didn't allow them about 10 full-time hires. We didn't think that was a prudent idea. And so once the Assembly did that, they started to get more legal opinions to see if they could try to ignore the Assembly. And unfortunately, county commissioners have routinely used some vague language in the charter and legal loopholes to keep fiscal decision-making solely in their hands. A yes vote on ballot 6 will close the loophole by clarifying existing charter language.
In June 2023, Potash introduced these charter amendments to Chatham's Select Board. By August, the Assembly had passed Ordinance 23-16, which would put the proposed charter changes on the ballot as question 6. Afterward, the ordinance was sent to the Board of Commissioners, where they had one of three options: approve, disapprove with reasoning, or ignore it, which would cause the ordinance to automatically go into effect.
They ignored it. They didn't attend any of the public hearings that the Assembly had on this. Complete crickets, radio silence until the ballot question came out. And now all this noise, all this commotion, acting like this came out of nowhere.
For over a year, the commissioners remained silent on the issue, but now, as the election draws near, they've come out strongly against ballot question 6.
This measure is an attempt to exempt the Assembly from provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 35, Section 28, the state law that establishes the budgetary and appropriating authority of all county executive and legislative branches in Massachusetts. In our state, the authority to prepare and initiate budgets and supplemental appropriations is delegated to the executive branch. This ballot question proposes to grant this authority to the Assembly and then exempt it from any of the current statutory limitation that exist in exercising that authority.
Commissioners like Bergstrom are concerned that voters may not fully understand the impact of ballot question 6 and say that changes of this magnitude should go through a full charter review process, which is already planned for 2025.
Waiting costs money. Why? Because, as you know, and as everybody's so tired of, there's been problems with the board and the Assembly pretty much way before I came around. And during the time between now and the end of charter review, there's going to be 2 more budget cycles. And that's the reason why we took this route, is to just try to get this done. So no reason to wait. It's been crickets until now. And I don't think that the board should be able to benefit from doing nothing and then act like something should have been done.
The commissioners, meanwhile, argue that the Assembly already has significant budget authority.
They are the financial oversight of the county. They came out of the Financial Review Board, which is previous to the current charter. You know, if only three of us, who knows what we could do if nobody paid attention, you know? So we submit it to them, and they look at it, and they, like I say, 2 years ago, they cut $800,000 out of it, you know? And that's within their authority to do that, just like town meeting could conceivably cut your budget.
Right.
But they can't initiate supplemental appropriations.
The debate surrounding ballot question 6 highlights a larger struggle over checks and balances within Barnstable County's government. Voters will ultimately decide the outcome on November 5th.
Yarmouth police were called to the Inglewood Beach parking lot last Sunday after receiving a report of 2 unresponsive men lying on the ground. When officers arrived, they provided immediate first aid to both men believed to be in their 20s. Yarmouth Fire and Rescue transported both men to Cape Cod Hospital, where they were pronounced dead shortly after. Their identities are not being released at this time as the investigation is ongoing. It has been determined that this is an isolated incident that poses no threat to the public.
Earlier this week, the Harwich Fire Department responded to Brooks Road Beach for a report of a child trapped in a hole. On arrival, responders found a child sitting in a hole 3 feet wide by 3 feet deep. After about 15 minutes, the responders were able to dig the child out and no injuries were reported.
Family Resource Center of Barnstable is teaming up with the Hyannis Youth and Community Center for Coats for Comfort, a winter coat giveaway. If you are in need of a warm coat for your child, register to receive a brand new winter coat for children up to 18 years old. Pickup will be on November 9th from 10 to 4 p.m. at the HYCC. You can register by calling 508-815-5100.
Chatham Recreation and Chatham Animal Control have announced their first annual pet food drive. You can drop off kibble, canned food, and pet treats for both dogs and cats at the Chatham Community Center through November 23rd. Chatham Recreation and Animal Control are calling for the community to come together to positively impact the lives of those facing pet food insecurity.
The town of Barnstable is working with the Cape Cod Commission to develop a municipal digital equity plan. This plan will identify and address internet and technology issues facing the community. A digital equity workshop is scheduled for November 12th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Katuitt Center for the Arts. And a pop-up event will be held on the 14th at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center. The final workshop will be on the 19th at the West Barnstable Community Building. For more information on the digital equity plan and these meetings, you can visit cccom.link/Barnstable-DE.
St. Mary's Church with the Community Action Committee is in their 15th year of providing Thanksgiving turkeys for Cape Codders. Last year, 330 families participated in this program and were able to have a full Thanksgiving meal. If you'd like to support this program, you can donate a supermarket gift card or a check in any amount. The goal is for each family to get a $75 gift card, a turkey, and a Cape Cod Creamery ice cream. Checks can be made out to the Community Action Committee of Cape and Islands and delivered or mailed to St. Mary's office in Barnstable Village.
You can help the sea turtles. Mass Audubon warns the public that if you find a sea turtle on the beach, do not put it back in the water. Instead, move it above the high tide line, cover it in dry seaweed, and call Wellfleet Bay Wildlife Sanctuary immediately to report the sighting. Cold-stunned sea turtles are not uncommon this time of year and need rehabilitation before re-entering the water. Sea turtles will be transported to the New England Aquarium to be looked after until they're healthy enough to be released. For more information on what to do if you come across a sea turtle, visit massaudubon.org/sea turtles.
Some important deadlines are coming up ahead of the November 5th presidential election. Today was the last day to vote early, and Monday the 4th is the last day to apply in person for an absentee ballot. If you have not yet voted early, either by mail or in person, head to your polling place between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. on November 5th to vote. If you're unsure what your precinct is or where your precinct votes, visit your town's website or check out wheredoivotema.com.
Our final installment of Candid Candidates is with the Democrat nominee for the 5th Barnstable District, Owen Fletcher. Unfortunately, we were unable to interview current Representative Steve Exaros due to scheduling conflicts. Neither candidate for the 2nd Barnstable District, Suzanne Conley or Kip Diggs, responded to our interview requests. Here's a sneak peek of our candid conversation with Owen Fletcher.
Currently, you're the clerk for the Assembly of Delegates.
I am.
And that kind of gives you, I feel like, a little bit more insight into how the local government here, all throughout the Cape, in all the towns, is going. How do you think that experience will help you as a representative?
So after I washed ashore, I did spend a year and a half working as a legislative aide for Representative Brian Mannell, who represented parts of Barnstable and Yarmouth for about a year and a half. But after he retired from office, I went to go work for the county, and I worked for the commissioner's office for 3 or 4 years as an executive assistant to the county administrator and the commissioners. And then after that, I worked for the assembly. So what that gives me is a sense of what issues are important regionally, how those issues differ from town to town. So when people ask me, say, in Sandwich or Bourne, where do you live? I'm very quick to tell them, although I live in Barnstable, I'm used to thinking about the region as a whole. What it also means is over 7 years, I've had to help the elected officials in the region prepare for meetings. There are very few topics where I haven't had to gather documents and put together research, whether it's broadband or wastewater or housing or coastal resiliency, anything you can think of that may have come up over the last 7 years. I've had to put those documents together. I've had to have a sense of what's in them. And so there'll be less learning on the job, I think, than there would be for other people. For me, because of what I've done in my career, both working for state legislators, but also working on regional issues on a day-to-day basis.
Coming up after the break, Monomoy students lead Senate debate. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Cape Media News.
Last week, the Monomoy High School Political Action Club hosted a debate for the Cape and Island State Senate seat. Candidates Julian Sear, Chris Lawson, and Joe Van Ness answered questions written by students live in the auditorium. We caught up with the students afterward to learn what events like this mean to them.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2024 Monomoy State Senate debate hosted by the Monomoy Regional High School Political Action Club.
I think that even though we can't vote yet, we're going to go into a world where being politically active and aware of what's going on is going to be one of the most important things, because right now policies and politics are, creating divisions among us and really affecting who we're interacting with and who we listen to. So I think going into a world, it's going to be really important for us to understand how the system works, but also be open to new ideas and begin the process of understanding other people's opinions and going into the world with a nuanced view.
I think, honestly, before our first debate, I had no idea about any of this. And I think it is very important for all of our students to understand it, because it's going to be our future. And it's definitely something that we all need to learn about now so that we're educated by the time that time comes.
I also think that it's just so important to actually show up to these things and learn more about the elections that are happening, because I think with social media there's so much exaggerated views, and so actually showing up and learning and talking to the candidates and stuff, that was a really good way for students to learn about how to get involved in elections.
I think it's kids being here in person can get rid of the filter of how the news filters things, cutting out certain moments where they actually mess up or be honest, and it's just a good first experience to know what they think and their opinions on.
So originally this was supposed to be a for the State House, I believe, Hadley Luddy. So originally that was what the debate was supposed to be, but then obviously Luddy didn't have any opposition, so we didn't really have anyone to do a debate with. So we basically, when we decided we wanted to do another one, we kind of used the questions that we were going to use for that debate and reformatted them so they were going to be asked so that they were more particular to the people who were attending the debate today. And so we all came up with the questions, and we picked issues that were most prevalent to us and that we felt the most passionate towards. And we also ordered them in that order. Like, we also organized them in that order as well, because we were only able to get to 9 and we had 10 questions. So it's really just about which ones do we really want to get to. I think that now more than ever, it's important that you just vote and be active in politics. Obviously, it matters who you vote for, but it's important to just encourage people to be active within the political system. I think we have this. A lot of people just think about the election season as the presidential election, but like we saw today, there are so many other elections going on at the same time. So it's really, really important to stay informed about, local politics too, because that's where the important changes that are gonna truly affect us the most are happening.
You can see the full debate on the Monomoy WMRS YouTube page.
The town of Barnstable will be hosting a public meeting to present 3 draft design concepts for the Marston Mills School property at 2095 Main Street. These design concepts were developed using feedback from the initial public outreach meetings and public comment that took place last spring. The 3 concepts for consideration are a public recreation-only site, a site that mixes recreation amenities with town-style housing, and a site that mixes recreation with single-family homes. This meeting will be at the Barnstable Town Hall Hearing Room in Hyannis on November 14th at 6 p.m.
Join Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach Center for a ceremony honoring our veterans on November 11th at the Hyannis Village Green, beginning at 9:30 a.m. Immediately following the ceremony, head into Town Hall for the Veterans Town Hall event featuring 10-minute testimonies of combat veterans and a buffet brunch, compliments of Hyannis Elks Lodge.
Heroes in Transition is hosting a Veterans Day Friendsgiving feast at the Irish Village in Hyannis. Spend Veterans Day with Heroes in Transition as they show gratitude to our military community. Enjoy a full Thanksgiving feast and an afternoon of fun kids' activities, including a mini horse meet and greet. For more info, you can head to heroesintransition.org/events.
Cape Cod Tech Night is just around the corner. If your 8th grader is interested in going to the Tech, don't miss your opportunity to experience all the Tech has to offer on November 14th. Tour the 15 technical areas, learn about student athletics, meet the robotics and journalism teams, and learn about the gold standards of the Skills USA Club. To RSVP, visit capetech.us.
Congratulations to Leslie Dominguez Santos, coordinator for the Barnstable County Human Rights Advisory Commission, who was honored at the Massachusetts Black and Latino Legislative Caucus Latino Excellence Awards last week. Recognized for her commitment to advocacy on Cape Cod, Leslie has championed human rights, social and environmental justice, and health equity, leaving a lasting impact on our community.
Congratulations to the DY Marching Band and Color Guard on their victory as the 2024 U.S. Band's Division 2A Massachusetts State Champions. Last Saturday, the band traveled to Stoughton High School to compete against top bands from across the state, earning an impressive score of 91. They swept the Caption Awards, taking home titles for Best Visual Effect, Best Music, Best Percussion, and Best Color Guard.
Barnstable Public School officials are excited to announce that Barnstable schools are sending more students to future problem-solving competitions than any other district. This year, 137 students in grades 7 through 12 will participate and compete in future problem-solving. FPS is an international academic program where students compete in a variety of challenges that incorporate problem-solving skills focusing on the 5 C's of learning: critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration, and caring. Congratulations to the coaches Deb Contrino and Christy Sally, and all the students that are competing. And lastly this evening, we send it to Ryan Downs with a recap of This Week in Sports.
Welcome back to the Cape Media News Sports segment. I'm your host and local sports guy, Ryan Downs. The MIAA has released their final updated power rankings, with our local teams in contentions across multiple sports. The only sport without a solidified bracket right now is football, which will be released this Sunday the 3rd, so we can only speculate their matchups as of now. The details of when all the games will take place have not been finalized yet either, but we will put in the ones that already have. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off with volleyball. This season, we saw strong performances across the board with DY and Barnstable as our top teams to watch, driven by standout players and exceptional setters. Barnstable concluded the season with a 16-4 record. Tegan Garrity, Barnstable's setter, stands out as a top talent, ranked 13th in the state with 523 assists. The team's balance and depth kept their title hopes alive all season. They're the number 7th seed in Division 1 and host the 26th seed Concord Carlisle with a 5:30 start today. With a 12-8 record, DY has been led by star players Vivian Castano and Mariah Eaton. Castano, who set a school record for assists this season, is one of the top setters in the state, currently ranked number 15 with 509 assists. Meanwhile, Eaton's powerful offense earned her the number 6 ranking in the state for kills with 294. Monomoy and Nauset did not qualify for postseason after finishing their seasons ranked 44th and 51st in their respective divisions. And we have our first honorable mention, Brody Gerlich from Sturgis West, who delivered an outstanding season, ranking number 4 in the state with kills at 319. Gerlich's performance secured Sturgis West's position as the 15th seed in Division 4. Next up, we got field hockey. The 2024 field hockey season wrapped up with Monomoy finishing undefeated, while DY made strides under a new coach. We expected Monomoy to be another good team this season, as they lost in the state finals last year, but we didn't expect them to dominate this season like they did, going unbeaten with an impressive 16-0-2 record and securing the 2nd seed in Division 4. Known for their airtight defense, they didn't allow a single goal all season until their 8th game and first matchup against DY. As we mentioned before, that contest ended in a 1-1 draw, and Monomoy continued to excel afterwards. They host number 31 Smith Academy with a 4 p.m. start today. DY ended the season with an 11-5-2 record under the guidance of a new head coach who brought fresh energy to the team. As the 6th seed in Division 3, DY hosts number 27 Notre Dame tomorrow on November 2nd at 1 p.m. Barnstable was able to sneak in a playoff spot in the Division 1 bracket after finishing the season just 3-12-3. They will travel to the number 5th seed Belmont for their round of 32 match. Nauset was also able to barely make the cutoff as they ranked 26th in Division 3 with a 7-8-3 record. They will travel to number 7 North Reading. Then we have an honorable mention in field hockey before moving on to soccer. Sandwich is the number 1 seed in Division 3 with an undefeated 20-0 record. If DY or Nauset wants a chance at the state championship title, there's a good chance they have to go through Sandwich, which also just goes to show how tough the competition is on Cape. Switching to soccer now, let's stick with the girls. Only 2 of our 4 schools will be heading into the postseason in soccer, and unfortunately they're both for play-in games rather than the round of 32. Number 26, Monomoy, will host number 39, Cathedral, in a Division 4 matchup, and number 29, Nauset, will host number 36, Ursuline Academy, in a Division 3 matchup. Both Barnstable and DY did not qualify for any postseason play, as they both only won 1 game all year. And boys soccer starts off with some playoff drama. Barnstable boys soccer team faced a tough season-ending setback, officially finishing with a 9-10-1 record. They fell just one game short of a 500 record needed for postseason qualification. The team faced further disappointment after having to forfeit 5 matches due to fielding an ineligible player. One of these forfeits included a 10-0 win over Monomoy. Barnstable still somehow clinched the Cape and Islands League Atlantic title, defeating every other Cape team that will appear in the postseason. Initially, we overlooked DY, but they went on to earn the 26th seed in Division 4 in a home play-in game versus number 38 Auburn. Monomoy was our preseason team to watch as they fell in the state titles game last year. This year, they enter the playoffs as the 17th seed and will travel to the 16th seed Excel Academy Charter. Nauset was also a preseason team to watch for us this year. They finished as the 32nd seed and will host the 33rd seed Tantasqua. And lastly, we have football. The final rankings and brackets for football won't be released until Sunday the 3rd, but we can give the latest update we have available. Barnstable is the 6th seed in Division 2 with a 5-3 record. DY comes in at the 11th seed in Division 6 with a 6-2 record. Nauset will also likely see the playoffs, as they're currently the 18th seed in Division 4 with the 5-2 record. Monomoy will not qualify for postseason play with a 2-5 record. And we have our last honorable mention with Sandwich as the 6th seed in Division 6 with a 6-1 record. And that's it for this week's sports update. Back to you, Lauren and Maxie.
Thanks, Ryan. Are you looking for something educational to do this weekend? We can come on a walking and discussion tour along the Historical Society of Old Yarmouth's Thatcher Trail tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Local historians Wabin Webquish and Bob Kelly will guide you on this 1-mile walk, where they'll discuss what happened to the Indigenous people once Westerners arrived in the New World. Bring your umbrella. This event is rain or shine.
And thank you for joining us this evening. If you ever have a story that you would like to see covered, send us an email at newstip@capemedia.org.
Tune in every week for more hyperlocal news that matters on Channel 26, Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV.
Be sure to follow us on all of our social media, including Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. For Cape Media News, I'm Lauren Williamson.
And I'm Maxie Davidson.